what's going on with your Michigan Wolverines. Connor Stalions, former Marine Corps captain, I love this, his LinkedIn profile reads, he attempts to, quote, employ Marine Corps philosophies and tactics into the sport of football regarding strategies and staffing, recruiting, scouting, intelligence, planning, and more. And under skills, he says, identifying an opponent's most likely course of action and most dangerous course of action, and identifying and exploiting critical vulnerabilities and centers of gravity in the opponent scouting process. Jake, how do you respond to the fact that in 2020, Jim Harbaugh went 2-4, capping a 6-year run at 47-22, and now in the 3 years since this alleged scheme was created, they've been 33-3, with their conference record going from 34-16 to 22-1.
Yeah, how do I respond to the fact? To think that this is the reason why it reminds me how little people actually know about the game of football. There's so many plays I can remember where you could say, well, what about the signs? And it's just Michigan kicking somebody's ass, okay? So, how's Michigan doing this year? They're kicking people's ass. These things are somewhat related, like in terms of the Venn diagram. Like, clearly we have to acknowledge, but like to think that Jim Harbaugh is all of a sudden leading Michigan to victories as if he's not historically a great coach and one of the few coaches that has succeeded in the NFL as well as the college game are completely unrelated. What's really going on here is, as you read the bio of Connor Stalions, is an absolute lunacy of leaving a paper trail in terms of basically saying, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. You know what I mean? I mean, he should have watched the mobster movies. This is not great, man.
Joshua, let me ask you this, because if we don't have to hold ourselves to a legal standard. It's very clear that this all took place, right?
Right.
But the question then becomes, there is debate over how big of a deal this is, right? Like Coach Prime's out here saying, I mean, whatever, you still got to stop the guy. And while some coaches in the Big Ten seem very upset, others seem like, it kind of is what it is. Everybody's trying to do it one way or another. Where do you fall, Joshua? How wrong is this? How badly should Michigan be punished?
I think there's two things that are at question here, right? I think the way that they got to the signs is what is bothering a lot of people, because folks I've talked to said this was one of the worst kept secrets in the conference, and they were just going about it like they were, above the law. And I think people had an issue with that. When it comes to the actual implementation of your sign stealing, guys got to go out there and make plays. I'm fully on board with that. Coach Prime said it. We heard Matt Rule say it. Like, a lot of guys have said, you got to go out there and make the plays. Where I think that we need to also draw a line is for anybody who says it doesn't matter or it doesn't really change the outcome that much. Why would they be motivated to put a guy who's making $55K, a low-level staffer, right? Like, you got dudes, probably the lowest on-field coach making $400K a year on that staff. Why would he have access on game day to the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the head coach? Because they believed it gave them that much of an edge. That is their belief. They told us that by the way that they operated on game day. And so I'm not exactly sure how much it changes the outcome of some of these games, but in their program and in their mind, they believe that this guy was valuable enough that he should be able to stand next to the three most important people on game day that aren't actually playing in the game and be able to talk to them while they're calling plays.
So by that standard, if it makes that big of a difference and it was a poorly kept secret and coaches speculated of this throughout the season, you're telling me you didn't do anything to combat that. You didn't change your signals. You didn't change the person calling the signals. I can think of 18 different ways to combat this and actually to use it against Michigan. If you know they know your signal, you can run a double move off of it. You can run a counter punch off of it. Like, yes, it does make a difference, but to think that what you said to start this, T-Bob, is like, oh, Michigan was 2-4 in COVID, and now look at them. It's because they knew the signals. Come on, that's no.
I would also say this, though, is if you knew that people were going to change their signals because they knew what you were doing, then why would you continue to spend the time, money, and effort into the sign stealing? Like, there was clearly something where they said, we're going to track, right? Like, I don't think you could change every week. And you played on offense, so you would know this better than, because on defense, all we used to do was over, cover 4, really simple stuff. We're dummies over there. Like, we don't need that much information. On offense, you gotta signal in the formation, shift, trade, motion. You gotta signal in the strength. You gotta signal in protections, passing route concept, all those different things. How many signals in the world are there that you could actually create to convey those different messages, and how often can you really change them?
Our 2-minute drill at Michigan, our 2-minute drill, it's a rack of 10 plays when Coach Harbaugh got there in 2015 and 2016. I still remember those 10 plays because they never changed in 2 years. Our quarterback, Wilton Spate, would say, hey, red ball run, red ball 1. And it was an inside zone to the right. Hey, red ball 2, 1 back power. Like, those didn't change, and you could see those clear as day. You wouldn't need to send anyone. Teams could have literally sat on our routes and everything.
That's a 2-minute situation.
We ran 2-minute.
Everybody's got a set of 10 plays in 2 minutes.
Order in the corner. Order in the corner. Okay, look, both y'all make pretty valid points here. I do think one thing that is maybe different about this is I think that Connor was really damn good at stealing these signals. Look at this play sheet here. This is a little bit of evidence that we brought into the courtroom today as we try to figure this thing out. You're seeing a very, okay, a lot of people steal signals during the game, right? And that kind of is what it is. That's accepted. That's just a part of football. This is very codified. It has multiple variations. It seems to speak to different groupings. This could speak to, okay, who's active with the signals each week. So, like, that is, it's not that everybody else maybe isn't trying similar things. And Joshua, there's even some internet sleuths trying to accuse Ohio State of doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
But it does seem like Michigan maybe did it most effectively. Mike, you haven't weighed in yet here. How bad is this by the Wolverines?
Well, where I grew up, same place you grew up, T-Bob, we have a saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And Michigan was never going to win anything of significance until they start cheating. So, hey, I've never defended Michigan in my life, but I'm going to defend them here because I'm tired of seeing them getting their teeth kicked in, lose all these big games, lose to TCU. We got to try something. So, hey, credit Jim Harbaugh. We all know he's going to be in the NFL in about 2 months. So this is a last-ditch effort. I respect it.
Wow. How do you respond to that, Jake?
I got no. I plead the fifth, bro. I pleed the fifth.
That's smart.
Well said.
By the
well
way,
said.
Did you guys hear what Kirby had to say about this?
That's what yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. They asked him about, Michigan and the sign stealing, and he said nothing Michigan did on that field would indicate that they did any of that to us, and I about fell out.
Well, it's kind of funny. I mean, they definitely didn't think that they were going to have to steal TCU signs either. And we saw that work out. Joshua, Jake, thank you so much. Y'all are the best. Red corner, blue corner. All right, boys, we're going to let you go. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.